welcome to another edition of the Michigan Conservative Roundtable. I'm Marty here today. TJ and Mike are letting me alone in front of the camera, as dangerous as that might be. So let's see what happens. We might just call this the Marty Monologue. I like how it's just the proper amount of alliteration. Okay? And what I'm talking about today is Mike and Terry have both accused me of not being strident enough, so I guess my basic subject is, why don't I care? I do care, but I find myself increasingly not caring on the large scale as much as I am on the smaller scale. And more on the smaller scale in a minute. For right now, we're going to talk about the large scale. I try to care. I really try to care. I really try to pay attention to things. But for the last couple of days, for example, I was trying to watch Fox News and a little bit of CNN and read some things online. And I turned to the Golf Channel because I understood a little bit better what was going on the Golf Channel. A drive is a drive and a putt is a putt, and you miss it or you don't. And there's no debate on any of these things. And I do admit to being in a little bit of a comfort zone with regard to that. But more seriously, there are reasons I found myself tuning out somewhat. First and foremost, and this is going to sound like a bit of a joke, and it's not, the world is going to destroy itself. It's going to hell, that's all there is to it, and we're not going to be able to stop it. People aren't perfect. And people are not perfectible. You're going to have people who will commit willful error. You're going to have people who will do things that are honestly mistaken. You're going to have honest misunderstandings. All of these things and many, many more are going to happen. So the long-term outlook for our world is bleak, and it can't be stopped. We're going to destroy ourselves. If you're Christian or seriously religious, you realize that with the second coming or some other effect of the hand of God, that this will not actually happen one day. If you're not seriously religious, the world is going to destroy itself one day, and that's all I've got for you, and that's all you've got. Sorry. I've always asked myself, too, that do we really know what's going on in this world? If we're going to act, we need to comprehend and understand what's happening. And I remember back in the 1980s, the conservative pundit Joe Sobran, I read an article of his. At the time, we were deeply involved in Latin America. And there were the left-wing death squads doing this and that, and the right-wing death squads doing this and that. And Joe Sobran, a good conservative, actually wrote one day, the problem with Latin America is we don't know exactly what's going on. And furthermore, we can't know exactly what's going on. There are opinions everywhere. We can find them all the time, and we can find them everywhere. And how can we check on those opinions? There's no real way to get to the bottom line on a lot of things. Some things, yes, to be sure. Some things we can know about. Things that are more directly philosophic, like we can know what the Constitution says. The Constitution says that the Second Amendment gives us the right to bear arms, period, end of report, and there's no rational debate on that. But when we get into things that are happening in the world, it's more and more difficult to know exactly what's going on. If for no other reason than parts of the media will blow things up on us, can you say Covington? Because that's exactly what happened there. And if it, so there's natural confusion there, and we have to deal with that, and it makes it very, very difficult to check all of our sources and know exactly what's going on with the particulars. Then I ask myself, can I actually affect the big picture? Can any of us really affect the big picture? And my honest conclusion is, no, we really can't. We really can't affect the big picture. Evil has always been around. There's been abortion in this day and age. There's been LBGTQXYZ rights and issues going on. We've got Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. All of these things. There's nothing new under the sun. There's always going to be bad things happening. And when all is said and done, again, outside of the intercession of God, we're not going to stop them. So what does it mean? It means we're not going to win. Obsessing over it, I believe, is only really going to hurt our well-being, and it might affect our ability to affect the things that we can affect. Affect the big stuff if you can, but I'm not going to be Ronald Reagan, and I know it, so I'm not going to have that opportunity. So what do? You got to do something. I think we all agree that despair is not an option. So we've got to do something, and the first thing I would say is remember that God is good, and we're on His time. It's His plan, and He's going to take care of the big details when all is said and done. That doesn't mean not to be concerned with them, of course. But we've just got to remember that, He's going to take care of things in His time and His manner. I would say in that regard, you need to go to church and you need to find out what His plan is for you. Because we've each got a plan. And it's very important that you follow that plan and you do his will in whatever little way you can, or in a big way, if that's what you're called to do. You got to find like-minded people. This is going to give you reinforcement, and it's going to give you support. You're going to realize you're not alone in this world, and there are people willing to work with you and help you. So, again, go to church. If you're not religious, the world's going to destroy itself. That's all I've got for you. I'm sorry. Today is not likely the end of times. It's very, very easy for us all to panic and think that the world's coming to an end right now. All right, maybe it is. But today rarely is the end of the world, so I don't think it behooves us to worry about these being the end times. We got to take things with a grain of salt. Okay, we've got to remember that anybody with a computer in the basement of his mother's house can make a meme, and that meme is not necessarily true. So we don't need to take a lot of the stuff out there very seriously. Unless it's funny, take those seriously. You seen the one where Nancy Pelosi was being encouraged to eat the Tide Pods from AOC? That's funny. Take that one seriously. Do the little things you can. Take care of what you can control. For example, myself, I don't shop at Target anymore since they went to the genderless bathrooms, and now they're going to genderless toys and clothes and whatnot. So I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to support it. I'm not going to purchase or eat Girl Scout cookies since they got together with Planned Parenthood. Okay? That's the little thing I can do, and we have to do things like that because public stands require a public response. So we've got to make a public response there. And we want to encourage similar attitudes. And I would also say that we need to vote. I think that's taken as an obvious, but one thing I will say is don't encourage contrary voters. Okay? The idea that I don't care who you vote for so long as you vote, I care who you vote for. And if you're going to vote against me, I don't want you to vote. It's that simple. So get like-minded people to get out there and vote. You get out there and vote, but none of this mamby-pamby stuff about I don't care who you vote for as long as you vote. It's meaningless. It's irresponsible. Learn the issues and vote responsibly, and do not encourage irresponsible voters to vote. I think at the end I would want to tell you to be obstinate. You're going to be inundated with information in this internet age and from friends and family and everything, and you know what? You're not always going to be able to counter it readily. There's too much out there, so stay obstinate. If Terry or Matt come to me with something I'm not sure about, I'm going to look it up and I'm going to check it out. But in the meantime, I'm not going to lose faith in what I know is right, despite all of this information being poured onto me and being inundated by it, okay? You want to shut out the noise. You don't want to let yourself get overwhelmed. You want to stay the course, and you want to stay the course in your own life by becoming a good person, doing your job, helping your neighbor, and all the nice things that go along with it, okay? I guess that's it for today's Marty Monologue. I want to remind you out there that if you like what you see, to please like us and please subscribe to the Michigan Conservative Roundtable. We'll be coming to you regularly. In the meantime, be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.